let's talk about a word. It's just 2 letters, but it might be one of the hardest words in the entire language for some of us to say. No. We're going to get into how building an entire architecture around that single word might just be the most important project you ever take on. Because for years, you've been saying yes, thinking you were building bridges with people, when in reality, you were just giving away pieces of yourself, one by one. I want you to just sit with that for a second. Really think about it. Every single time you said yes to a favor you really didn't have the time or energy for, you were saying no to your own peace. Every time you said yes to some commitment that just drained you, you were saying no to your own well-being. And every yes to showing up for people who never, ever show up for you, that was a quiet, crushing no to your own self-worth. And look, this is the part that kind of stings, but it's also the part that's going to set you free. You told yourself you were just being helpful, a good person, a team player. But if we're being brutally honest here, it was driven by fear. Fear of being rejected, fear of what they might think about you, fear of being seen as difficult. And that fear, one yes at a time, it just quietly made you smaller and smaller. So why does this happen, right? Why does our attempt to be liked and valued so often have the exact opposite effect? Well, it's not just a feeling you have. There's actually a powerful psychological principle at work here. It all comes down to the simple economics of your own availability. Think about it in any other context. Rarity creates value. We see it with gold, with diamonds, with limited edition sneakers, with pretty much everything. But when something is always available, it does the opposite. It creates expectation, and eventually, people just start taking it for granted. It loses its value. So let's turn that lens on you for a moment. And really, be honest. How quickly do you reply to that text message? How fast do you jump up when someone asks for a favor? How many times have you canceled your own plans, your time to rest, your hobbies, your quiet time, just to fit into someone else's schedule? You've probably made yourself infinitely available. And this is the devastating result. A resource doesn't get respected, it gets used up. It doesn't get appreciated, it gets depleted. When your time, your energy, and your support are just always on tap, like water from a faucet, people stop asking if you can help. They just start assuming you will. So what does the path out of this look like? Let's talk about a simple story. It's about a man who was just completely burned out from a lifetime of compliance. A guy who, like so many of us, was loved for what he did, not for who he was. He was the reliable one, right? The go-to guy. And that label was absolutely crushing him. He was tired in a way that sleep couldn't fix. You know that feeling? It's a soul-deep exhaustion. So, quietly, firmly, without any big announcement, he just stopped. He stopped answering those weekend calls from his boss. He stopped dropping everything for last-minute favors from friends. He started saying no. And what happened next completely shocked him, because it's the exact opposite of what we all fear is going to happen. See, his transformation wasn't just a random accident. It actually followed a very clear framework for reclaiming his own self-respect. We're going to call them the 5 boundaries. And here's the key. These aren't walls to keep people out. Think of them as gates that let the right people in, but on terms that actually honor you. There are 5 of them. 5 fundamental shifts in how you act that will completely change the dynamic of your relationships, and more importantly, your relationship with yourself. Let's break them down, one by one. All right, this is the absolute foundation. It's the first and maybe the single most powerful boundary you can set, because it reclaims your authority over your own life. The moment you start giving a long-winded reason, oh, I can't because I have this other thing, and then my cat got sick, and you're not being polite. You're inviting a debate. You're basically asking for their permission to say no. A simple, firm, no, I can't make that work is all you need. It's not rude, it's just clear. The second boundary is all about reclaiming your time. Just like your no should be non-negotiable, so should your time. Because how you value your time sends a huge message to the world. If you instantly reply to every text and drop everything the second someone calls, you're teaching them that your time isn't as valuable as theirs. Let that call go to voicemail. Answer that email when you're ready. This isn't about playing games. It's about signaling that you have a life that you respect and protect. Okay, boundary number 3. This one gets into your energy, and it requires you to be really, really honest about who you're spending your time with. You know exactly who I'm talking about. The people who leave you feeling empty and exhausted after you see them. You keep them around out of guilt or maybe history or some weird obligation. But your energy is finite. Every time you give it to people who drain you, you're casting a vote that says, I believe I deserve to feel drained. It's time to start voting for yourself. This boundary is about your physical and psychological space. Think about that meeting or that family dinner where you can literally feel your personality just compress. Your voice gets quieter. You start watching every single word you say. Your posture even changes. You have been giving them your consent to make you feel small. It's time to take it back. Walk into every room as if your presence is a privilege for them, not the other way around. Because it is. And now for the fifth and final boundary. Honestly, this one can be the hardest one of all, especially if you're a natural helper. You have to stop playing the hero in someone else's story. When you're constantly covering for someone's mistakes or bailing them out of their poor choices, you're not actually helping them. You are robbing them of the lesson they need to learn to grow. And you end up paying for that lesson with your own stress and your own peace of mind. Let them face the music. It's the kindest thing you can do for them and for you. So what happens when you actually start doing this? When you implement these boundaries? The big fear, right, is that people will get angry, that they'll abandon you, that your world will just fall apart. But the reality is so much more interesting than that. Here's the truth. You don't lose real relationships. You just filter out the fake ones. The people who leave, they were never there for you in the first place. They were there for what you did for them. They were there for your compliance. But the people who stay, those are the ones who actually respect you as a person, not as a resource. Setting boundaries is the ultimate test of a relationship's authenticity. And this is the crucial thing to understand. You may have been chasing love by being endlessly giving, but what you were really creating was dependency. Real, healthy love. It can't exist without a foundation of mutual respect, and respect simply cannot exist without boundaries. So the next time you're asked for something and you feel that drop in your stomach, that immediate tension, I want you to stop calling it anxiety. Reframe it. That feeling isn't a problem you need to get rid of. It's a signal. It's the part of you that knows your own worth, knocking on a door you've kept locked for way too long, asking to be let out. The only question left is, are you finally ready to open it?